I'm always going to give a little time for people to come in, so I'm always going to leave 2 to 3 minutes. Don't let ARL get taken out. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You guys are going too quick for me. See, I don't spend my time in the weekends doing my weekly analysis. I don't open charts because that's my time off. So I am definitely going to right now start looking at them. So, start off quite easily. We have our news. We have a great trading week this week. I'm following my rules that if there is no news, it is not a trading day. We concentrate on volatility and we want to see large expansions. So, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are all trading days. And I'll be waiting till the last news is done. So, I'll be starting to trade at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, 8:30 for both Wednesday and Thursday, and 10 a.m. for Friday. All right. With that gone, we'll do a little quick top down of NQ and ES. So last week, what we did is we ran again to buy side after having swept it, and that's a little too small for me to consider it fully swept. So we could still see a retracement into long-term internal coming into the next few months, which would also follow in with seasonality. We expect March to be a month to create the low of the year, which is what happens a lot of times. So I'll be looking into a retracement with my premium and discount of this leg. And what is the first inefficiency that pops off? Well, it's very, very, very simple. I'll be looking at this fair value gap specifically. I'm going to have that marked out on my chart, which would also be a retracement into this order block. So I'll have that level as well on my chart. I'm going to use the bodies of the candles right here. And this is bullish order block high on the weekly time frame. That's how I mark out levels in my charts, by the way. So I'm just going to copy and paste that over right here. Opening price of these three candles, which are monthly, actually, not weekly. My bad. So that might be for the next monthly candle. I'd expect a large range going lower. So I wouldn't be looking that much at a retracement this far in that specific case. I forgot I was on a monthly chart. I might be looking at this fair value gap. So I'm going to have both marked out on my chart. Being election year, it's definitely going to be a special one. I have never traded during election year, so I do not know what to expect. So making analysis on the monthly chart is not going to help me with my intraday trading. I just like to look at them to give me a little idea of, hey, where's the next monthly candle going to go? And now a big thing I see is just this gap right here. This volume imbalance, to me, will be a huge target for a possible retracement. We might leave that open for a while. We might not. That's why looking at a monthly chart is very, very... It's a long. It's... How far is it? Well, that's just 400 handles on ES, which is crazy, and 2,200 handles with an average monthly candle, I think, of being about that 1,400, and that was a big month. So I'm not expecting us to go that far then. But we'll see once we get more information on our lower time frame charts. Awesome. So little problems with the Discord. I apologize for that. And you guys can also see the stream, correct? Awesome. So sorry about that. Didn't mean for those problems to happen. All I was saying, pretty much, you guys saw me move, I guess. I was looking at my monthly charts and pretty much saying that we could see a retracement to internal long term, but I don't think that will happen. I never traded election years, so I can't really give my opinion related to that directly. So I'm not going to make assumptions for the next monthly candle or the next 2 to 3 monthly candles because I don't have enough insight right now. And I just barely got down to a monthly chart. So, a weekly chart, I mean. So, we just took out long-term external. So, of course, you would expect a retracement into internal, which we had not last week, the week beforehand. But we're creating low resistance liquidity on both assets. And for it to be a long-term reversal, I would like to see more detail than this. This is not enough. I need to see SMT. I need to see a lot more before considering some long-term reversals. And just looking at those two charts right now, you can see the difference in the candles, how we've been uncorrelated on these assets currently. So I'm not ready to say now we start going down. I'm going to wait for further insight, and I'm going to expect us to actually keep moving forward. I have this order block, which I would like to see created, right? I'd like to see a candle right here that would confirm that as an order block. It's weird how I can only draw the rectangles like that, but I'd like to see an expansion higher, confirming this is an order block, so I can expect March to keep going up. But following seasonality, I would expect March to create the low of the year, which would be probably made around this. This level is a little too clean for my liking. I would like to see this liquidity swept long term. As for now, on ES we have a very clear level, but we cannot know if this is a high probability order block or not at the current moment. So I'll be utilizing these two specific levels and try and see respect from the opening price or the top wick. More specifically, I'm going to be using this on the top wick. I'm actually going to take away my other line because it is now useless. There we go. I'm going to be looking at specific levels in the top wick, very specifically consequent encroachment, and I'm going to be looking at the order block's opening price for a sign of respect. If I see respect of that level, it's going to give me additional confluence as to if we're going to keep going higher, or if we start digging lower right here, I'm going to expect us to go target this specific liquidity. You got to remember that when you're doing analysis like that, it's always if-then statements. So what I'm saying is, if we respect this order block, premium and discount, right? This discount inefficiency, or any level in the top wick of that order block, I'm going to expect price to run higher and target our previous weekly highs. That's going to be my target. If I see that we're digging too far into this order block, I'm going to be looking for a short towards sell side and expect all of this to be low resistance liquidity. I'm going to concentrate on ES because, as you can see on NASDAQ, I don't have a lot of inefficiencies to work for. Well, higher time frame inefficiencies. Hence why I'm now going to go lower. I'm going to go to my daily charts, remove that, and just align that really quickly. Now I have more insight into price. What is the first thing that jumps to mind here? It's very simple. We've been consolidating. I'm on a daily chart. All of this is just trading within the range. That is consolidation right here. And then what do I have? I have a big impulse move taking out liquidity right here. So of course I'm going to expect a retracement into IRL. What specific IRL am I going to be looking at? I'm going to be looking at premium and discount of our latest range. So I'm going to be looking at this. I'm going to hide this and add my levels back later just so you guys can get a clearer picture. And this is my monthly, weekly order block right here. So I'm going to be looking for retracement into what? Specifically, this order block. These two candles form an order block. I'm going to be looking at this and a retracement, which would be a retracement into this fair value gap. More precisely, I'm going to be using PD array quarters to define exactly where it stops going and when it keeps going up. But as I said, right here you have even more insight. All of this is low resistance liquidity. Failure swings right here. So what will I expect? I will expect price to accelerate if it comes down this far. I'm not okay with it retracing past this specific level of OT. So okay, you can dig into the order block, digging into the fair value gap at the same time, but this is my last line of defense. This specific level, 5019.5 on ES. If I look at NASDAQ, where we had SMT actually, right here. Let me just try it out on both. SMT, right here, and this low, and this low is the equivalent on ES. NASDAQ will have a harder time going back down there because of that SMT. And at that specific time, on the 21st, we could say NASDAQ took out this low, so I can treat ES like it did, right? I can consider that it will keep going up. Fair enough, we went for external liquidity. Now, it's the same thing that I was to consider when I was trading that specific week, 2 weeks ago. I don't know if it's going to keep going up. So what am I going to do? I'm going to wait for a level to be respected, order block, to then tell me that I'm going to continue higher. On NASDAQ right here, my target for last week, if you were there for the midweek analysis, was this new week opening gap right here. We dug into it with our SMT and then continued higher and took out external range liquidity. So now, same thing. I'm expecting a retracement towards what? Internal. What inefficiencies are within this range? This fair value gap. So I'm going to be looking at what? I'm going to be looking at the quarters within it to see a specific respect of a level. And I'm also going to be looking at this order block. But why am I not going to use this one? The full order block is in a premium of the range. So I'm going to be using the bottom order block, lining up actually top wick with the order block, and I'm going to look for this specific level as well. So it's the same thing. It's if-then statements. But if we dig too deep within this range, whether it be on ES or NASDAQ, I am going to be expecting that we'll be targeting lows right here. So I'm still going to provide these levels on my chart. With 4 high impact news days, I'm going to expect a decent amount of movement this week. They aren't the biggest news, but they're definitely high impact news that I'm going to look for in price. Going even lower for specifically tomorrow morning, which is Tuesday, I'm going to be looking for a retracement into the discount of this range as we talked about. Right here I have my daily fair value gap, which we're currently trading within, and London will give me more insight, of course, and the Asian session trading will also give me more insight. But more specifically, I'd like to see it go all the way down here, but I want this specific fair value gap to stay open. That's my line of defense. My final line of defense in a 4-hour chart is this fair value gap, this large fair value gap, which was created with FOMC minutes news. I'm going to leave that purple because I'll actually put it blue so I don't mistake it with a new day opening gap. I want this to stay open. It is not something that you can use as a concept and bring it towards on anything. It's not the last fair value gap of every range. It's now specifically with the insight I have, I want to see this remain opened. This large fair value gap is in deep discount. There is multiple low resistance liquidity points lower. I do not want to see it dig past this because I don't think this order block alone can support it. So I believe that if we start digging into that, all we're going to do is retrace higher and then go target this sell side liquidity. But for now, the real objective is as marked on the chart. This is going to be, still previous week high. I'm going to expect an early week dig into that. And here, with 4 trading days and Monday not being one, what do we expect? Well, as for myself, I expect a classic week as a weekly profile. So either a classic buy week or a classic sell week. But now with the insight that Monday has given me, if we look at Monday's price action, right? What did we do? We retraced into internal, into the order block, and then continued lower. What does that tell me? Well, we're going down, at least for a little. But if I'm expecting to be bullish, then I can expect something like a Wednesday reversal. I could expect that Wednesday's news will push price higher and reverse. So what am I going to be trading? I'm going to be looking for a setup lower to go target. I was going to do this fair value gap to go target in this range. I'm going to be looking for a specific 4-hour or daily inefficiency. So either one of these PD array quarters, which is my daily fair value gap, or any one of these fair value gaps, which after seeing London, after seeing Asia, that's where I can get more insight to be respected, so I can then trade along towards weekly external. That's going to be my bias on both. Specifically on NASDAQ, I'd like it to remain stronger. Long term, ES is definitely stronger, as we've seen from this SMT. But if you were actually trading during those times, you've noticed that the setups, the 1 minute setups, the 5 minute setups, had NASDAQ showing stronger potential to the upside. So I'm going to be looking specifically for that as well. And if you see right here, what I've just noticed is you can see some type of SMT forming right here. So I'm definitely going to be excited for that tomorrow morning. If this SMT is confirmed, I'm going to be going long on NASDAQ, being very happy, wake up and buy NASDAQ. That will be the plan. That's it for indices. Did you have any question before I move on to DXY to confirm or disapprove of our plan for this week? No message in chat. I'm taking that as a no questions. Gonna give you guys a sec. Slightly confused. Tell me what you need more insight on. Tell me, why are you confused? Would we not look for short to a fair value gap and just wait it out? Yeah, that's what I said on ES right here. I could look for short going lower, but with this SMT currently forming, which, by the way, by tomorrow morning, NASDAQ could have taken out this low and then canceled any idea of SMT that I currently have with here. Let me just put it like that. With these lows, if you compare on both charts. Sorry, I just had a notification. So tomorrow morning could disapprove of this idea to go long right away, which is okay. But if I see SMT forming, what does that tell me? Well, smart money is accumulating orders on NASDAQ while it is not, and that is giving me confidence that the low has indeed been put in. And exactly, NQ would be much stronger. You could wait it out, but what I'm saying is if I see respect of this order block creating SMT, and then I wake up tomorrow and there is strong SMT between NQ and ES, then I have confidence that the low has been put up and I can trust a long setup that I get that will reach us to external. It means I don't have to wait for a retracement deeper. It does not have to retrace to a premium or a discount. It just does 95% of the time. Those are random statistics thrown, by the way, just straight out my ass. So don't take them as pure numbers. You can run those calculations if you want. But the main plan is going to be to wait for retracement lower, as I said, into this daily inefficiency, looking more precisely at a 4-hour. But if I have SMT telling me that the low has put up, that means I can take a long right away. That is the analysis for now. Makes more sense? Long and strong, got it. Awesome. All right, and just looking at DXY to get a little deeper insight. I'm gonna remove this, get that out the way real quickly. Right here, I had pretty simple objectives. I say DXY goes lower while indices push higher. Going down to daily chart just so you guys can see, we've had our shift. We were due for a new shift. In my eyes, this is a shift in market structure right here. We took out this high and now are gonna displace below this. Right now, what did we do? We barely took it out and went back. What do I always say? If this is to be a sweep of liquidity, especially with levels that are this clean, right? Relative equal lows. Let me just take this off for a second. With relative equal lows like that. If this is to be a sweep, we are not gonna revisit that level. It just does not make sense because our objective would be higher. So I'm definitely going to be targeting lower prices for DXY, which brings us confidence that indices will be going higher. specific levels I have before I expect a retracement. By the way, when DXY is retracing, these are the most amount of times you'll see low probability conditions on your indices. You got to make sure that indices always line up with your dollar index because they're directly, well, inversely correlated assets, but very strong in correlation. So I'm going to be looking for a dig lower, this inverting this fair value gap right here, which we will probably see today on the close of this daily candle. So I'm going to be looking for this to invert and target lower prices to print out the sell side of the curve, buy side of the curve right here. If you're into market maker models, buy side of the curve, and I'm going to be looking for it to print sell side to continue lower, specifically to this blue line, which I am not going to explain right now. This is going to be for private people. Right here, it's very, very simple, right? You don't need to have much experience to see that it's going to go lower. You took out external. We're at least going to retrace to internal. We are not respecting discount internal, so we're going to push lower. What is the best confirmation for that? Displacing below this low. So I want to see an aggressive move. With all the news we have, I don't think that will be an issue this week. I want to see an aggressive move lower, and before even retracing, I would like to see it go all the way down here, at least taking out this objective. And that would make my week. Because after we get to this liquidity void right here, I'm not expecting much. I'm just going to combine the liquidity void and the volume imbalance together. And by the way, in your rectangle settings, you can just extend them right, so I don't have to draw it out all the way. So that's going to be the main objective. I believe this is new day opening gap. That's awesome. So I'm going to actually have this instead. This beautiful indicator that doesn't have new week opening gaps activated. By the way, if you want ICT and WOG and DOG by Fedi, that's my favorite indicator, definitely. And right now I only have the past 3 days showing up, so I'm gonna mess around with that later on, but that's gonna self-draw this for me. So DXY, what do we know by analyzing DXY even further? Instead of just analyzing indices, it gives us confirmation, right? If I'm bearish on DXY, does it make sense that indices can go up? Yeah, that's my plan. And if you see right now, we had a bullish day, we had a bearish day on DXY, bullish day on indices, and bearish day on DXY. So right now, I'd be expecting a small retracement candle in the beginning of the day, and then a continuation lower. So it confirms my idea for the next week. Any questions directly on that? Because that will be all for my pre-week analysis.